So why aren't religious people freaking out about the end times? Christian here. Bible says Jesus will come back when we don't expect it, or like a thief in the night. A good rule to follow. If everyone's claiming it's the end of the world, it's not the end of the world. So since nobody's shouting about it, we're fucked. Just the non-believers. The end of times have started since the start of time. This guide is entropy. The end times will be much worse than this if Revelation is to be taken literally. Literal would be too obvious though. It would cause more widespread chaos. Figuratively, many of the foretold signs will be very plain in nature, but a lot of people will fail to recognize them as they come to be. Only the watchful will see and know when they are. The way the world is though, when the signs are made known to those few, everyone else will consider these individuals as crazy, because most realize that 2020 only seems like shit because our generation and the two before it aren't really used to major hardship compared to the absolute hell life was like 100 years and back. Some more. This. People are pissed they have to stay inside and can't get a haircut. My grandfather enlisted into the army when he was 20. Left the farm in my grandmother's hands and went to a foreign country to kill Nazis and stand up for what he knew was right, knowing full well he may never see my grandmother and his family again. That's a sacrifice. They've been freaking out about the end of times the last 150 years. 2012 was supposed to be it, but everyone stopped listening after that wasn't true. It's like the boy who cried wolf. I don't really think that was Christians in 2012. Just people who for some reason believed a vague Mayan legend. The Mayans just ran out of stone and dumb people started freaking out. That's not at all how that works. Their calendar is cyclical, for one thing. So the deal is the Mayan calendar ends December 21st, 2012. So the theory is that's the date the Mayans predicted the end of the world. What I always said probably happened. Whoever was on duty to work on the calendar that day, he probably saw some hot Mayan ass walk by, and he said, fuck this calendar shit, I'm going get some booty. And so he quit the calendar. Probably lost it, and the Mayans altogether said screw it, we not starting it back over after James lost the calendar. That's my theory. Mayan guy got distracted by a hot Mayan girl. Forgot all about the calendar. Lost it? Simpler answer? We know how calendars work. Sane, rational people don't think the world is going to end every December 31st Carrot Street just because that's the end of the calendar year. Calendars are cyclical. They repeat. We're only on level 6 of 2028. Give it time. We're only halfway through. We will have to fight the final boss. The end times. Tribulation is very well detailed and laid out in the book of Revelation written by John, one of Jesus' disciples. It begins when the Antichrist appears. Everyone will love him and think he's awesome, handsome, smart, spiritual, religious, etc., and creates a peace treaty to stop the fighting in Israel for 7 years. Those 7 years are the tribulation, which include many plagues, meteors, wars. Antichrist breaks treaty after 3.5 years. Effectively WW3. Government-mandated spirituality. Antichrist declares himself to be God. Forces worship of himself or death. Government oversight of all of your finances. Be a mark of the beast planted into your forehead or wrist, which will be required to be able to buy, sell, or trade. Famines, and many other terrible things. Only after the 7 years will Christ return to establish his kingdom on the earth. I just had a conversation with my mom the other day about the Antichrist, how he is going to convince millions of people, many Christians, how it will be hard to figure out who he is. They will see him as a savior, very spiritual, and not capable of bad, in that he will betray the promises he made. I said that this sounded a lot like Trump, and she said it can't possibly be him because his following is mostly Christians, and he doesn't go back in his Oromizes, and he is a Christian himself. She effectively proved my point. The media hates Trump far too much for him to be the Antichrist. If Trump was being cheered like Obama, you'd have a case. It's supposed to be someone worldly people really like, globally. I was just making a point to my mom because she thinks that she will know the Antichrist is in. Not be fooled by hi monsieur, I don't actually think he is the Antichrist. And I'm not a Christian, so I don't think the Antichrist exists anyway. The Antichrist will most likely be Jewish, due to a verse claiming he abandons the God of his fathers, ancestors, family, people. Therefore Trump is not the Antichrist. Not only this, but he is not nearly as universally loved as the Antichrist is supposed to be. Basically any non-Christian will truly believe the Antichrist to be the savior of mankind. Seems awfully specific, yet budge. 1. Jesus said it would be unexpected, so there's no reason to think now is the time. 2. Even if this is the end times, that means Jesus is coming back and we're about to have the most epic I told ya so moment in history, maybe even ever. Note, I am Roman Catholic. We don't do the whole rapture, tribulation thing. That's a very new idea, foreign to us. Edit. The return of Christ is meant to be a joyous and triumphant occasion, the complete and final victory of good over evil. The dead will be reunited with their bodies and join those still living. And then the final judgment occurs, where the mysteries of salvation history remade known to all. All who died before this time will have already faced their particular judgment. The damned will have been in hell, the saved either in purgatory or in heaven. At the final judgment, all of humanity learns of the perfection of salvation history and are then sent either to heaven or hell. Note, the final judgment won't override or redo the particular judgment of those who died before the second coming. While this all is, as I said, triumphant and joyous for the faithful, no Christian should be excited at the prospect of the damned going to hell. Instead, while God's justice be praised, it should be saddening to a believer to know souls are lost to hell, and humbling for us still alive, who might be tempted into thinking we are perfect in the eyes of God. Were the signs of the end times evident, it would be a time of fasting and prayer for believers, not gloating. Rather than freaking out, I'd rather be a good person in character and have strong faith so I can go to heaven, because as much as Reddit wants it to be, it's not the end of the world. 50 years from now this sub will still be asking, what will 2070's final boss battle be? Because of a series of minor inconveniences. Exactly this. Everyone on here has to freak out about everything. Like it's too scary to stay inside. Of course terrible things have happened this year, but I gave up with everyone when they were overreacting about murder hornets which don't even try to kill people. Agnostics, you hear? What good would freaking out do? Also, freaking out usually accompanies somebody looking for religion. You're an agnostic Jew, which explains your rational take on the matter. Most people aren't. I cannot tell if some of y'all are just hateful towards Christians or ignorant. There is way more understanding toward Christians in this thread than any hate, including most top posts. You're being misleading. Also, any Christian who claims to believe in Christianity and then supports someone like Trump who has broken every single commandment and is spreading hate throughout the country is a hypocrite. One of the reasons anger against Christians is increasing. Porque no los dos. The right-wing evangelical types want the end times to be now, because it means they were right. And they get to gloat as everyone they hate. Gays, blacks, liberals, burn in hell. Okay, what? Are you saying that Christians think liberals, gays, and blacks will burn in hell just for being those things? If you think that, then you've been severely misguided. Speaking from experience, there are some Christians that do truly believe that the gays will burn in hell simply for existing. Not misguided, and I resent the implication. Source: was ostracized by my family when I came out nearly 20 years ago, and haven't heard from them since. I accidentally came out as lesbian to my family. The first tried praying around me in a circle, trying to get Satan out of me. It was actually scary. They were all crying and my grandma was literally shaking. I thought she was going to pass out. They really believed I had the devil in me and that was making me be gay. When that obviously didn't work, my mom threw me out. She did this at church, and they all supported her. She didn't want me being an evil influence on my younger siblings. She also said she did this the day after my 16th birthday because I didn't deserve to be happy then, and she didn't want to have to see me on Christmas. That's an almost exact replica of what happened to me. My parents, before even speaking to me about it, before even responding, went to talk to their pastor about the man it later turns out my mom had a long-running affair with. To find out how to respond, they couldn't even make a decision about their son on their own. Then they came back and told me it was the church's way, or the highway, and wouldn't even consider discussing it. Mom literally stood there with her nose in the air, refusing to talk to me or make eye contact. I remember one of the last things my mom said to me being, "I will always choose them over you. I hope you're doing okay now." People as a general rule can absolutely fucking suck. Don't let them and their hatred define you. My mom is allowing me to see her again. I still can't live with her though. I also later found out that the reason my grandma was so upset was because her husband divorced her because he was gay. The most hypocritical thing is my mom divorced and is currently going back and forth between a few guys. It's only been a few months, so it is hard to say how things will turn out. But I'm doing pretty good right now. Man, that sucks. I'm sorry. If someone says they're a Christian and they act like that, I automatically have doubts about their claims to religion. I think they're secretly happy that things are getting worse. They see all this as signs of the end times, which means they were right all along. Most of my family is evangelical Christian and they believe that the end times are near. Every time they see some new bad thing that has happened, they say almost excitedly that Jesus is coming soon. This is what worries me. People doing nothing because they believe that God is coming. Meanwhile, everything gets worse because good people do nothing. I'm sure your family are lovely people though. Any Christian who is thinking straight knows that we will never know if the end, I guess I'll call it, is actually arriving. So with all the bad things going on right now, we should still help. That's out of the question. Just because the end might be coming doesn't mean we should just sit back and wait for Jesus to save us. Actually, no. They kicked me out at 16 for being a lesbian and an atheist. Though I was beyond saving, and having me around would only influence my siblings for evil. No offense, but in my eyes they committed far worse sin than you did. If they truly believe what you do is wrong, they should have responded with compassion and kindness. Instead of condemning you, sin should be condemned, not the person. Catholic here. I am not happy that things are as bad as they are. I don't care about having been right all along, especially not at a time like this. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.